was just sharing with somebody in the audience that between work, regular day work, some more extra initiatives that we want to take, self-development, family, kids, and so on. Most days, most weeks, we have more than 24 hours of the day committed, right? We all need 26, maybe 28 hours every day to get by. And for all of you to take out time and travel from across the country, in some cases across the world, and spend this day with us means a lot. So thank you, and I hope we'll make this day totally worth your time, right? So today we have a lot of security practitioners, security providers experience that will be there in this room. Right? We were just doing some basic maths here, that between all the attendees today that we have and we will have as the day progresses, we have about 6 to 6,500 years of security experience. Now that's a lot, right? 6,500 years of experience in one room is a lot. And the idea of this event, Security Now, that we've now had it for 6, maybe 7 years now in a row, is to see if we can even get 600 years of experience, or 60. I'd be happy with 60. Compressed and learnings in this one day. Right? That's the reason for putting this whole thing together. My name is Vishal. I'm the CEO of the company. Been with the company ever since its inception. So I just want to go back a year ago today, almost to the day. Right? Security Now last year, and the theme for Security Now last year was superheroes, right? Security superheroes, and the basic premise and Security Now in some sense brings together almost the whole year of learning and patterns that we see as we see hundreds and thousands of enterprises that we meet every year, and compress that into one common pattern that we are seeing across the board. And the common pattern that we were seeing last year, and that continues actually, was that security professionals, whether they are practitioners, providers, consultants, right, the whole ecosystem, are expected to do a lot of people's jobs in one day, right, kind of like a superhero. And they don't, or we didn't feel that there were enough tools and technologies and gadgets, the superhero gadgets that were available for each of them to do their job, right? And the year prior, we embarked on this journey in our products and in our whatever we are professing, to make sure that every security practitioner becomes a superhero with gadgets and with all the tools and technologies and the support system that is there. Last year, having hundreds and thousands of interactions between the Seclore team and let's say the rest of the world, the extension that we have realized to that is that superheroes can only be in one place, right? Spider-Man can only save one building or one person at a time. But the needs today are such that superheroes need to be at more than one place at a time, right? And I'm not suggesting multiple personality disorders and those kind of things, right? So not going there. But threats, regulations, data, people, everything is becoming global. While regulators, requirements, residency or otherwise are becoming increasingly local. Right? I was just a couple of weeks ago, I was in California, and California requires Californian citizens' data to actually be within California, not even to the broader United States, right? Thankfully, in India, we've done a better job because it's like it's more a federal DPDPA, which is more a countrywide regulation rather than each state coming up with its own. So we have a lot to thank for over there. But as we will see, nearly everything else is global, but residency requirements, regulations, and so on are local. And we've seen in the last 1 year a very interesting dynamic, sometimes conflicting, sometimes supporting each other, of this whole global versus local pattern, right? Why should somebody who's working for, let's say, the Indian Armed Forces care about what's happening, what are the biggest threats that that Ukrainian company is facing, right? And a couple of years ago, you would have said, you shouldn't care, right? You're largely local within India. Maybe there are some interactions with armed forces in other countries and so on. But today, all of this matters, right? Why is somebody from one country attacking somebody from another country, and we have nothing to do with these two countries, should still bother and concern us, right? If not for action, at least for knowledge, right? And what we are seeing, what we have seen in the last 1 year is a very interesting pattern of this whole dynamic of, a lot of things globally which will affect us locally and the other way around, right? And so therefore, that's the theme for today's event, which is, how do we secure and comply across all borders, right? And these borders don't exist in the digital world, but they unfortunately do in the physical world, right? So like I was saying, it was that data is global. All our data is everywhere. If there is a person in this room who's not using Microsoft and is not using Google and is not using the Aadhaar card and the Aadhaar app, right, and so on, that's the only person who can claim that, hey, my data is completely local, and all the pictures are stored in the local drive, and all emails have a local server and so on, which is, I'm guessing, nobody here, right? So data is all global, threats are global, right? Cyber criminals don't know any boundaries, don't care about boundaries. Regulations are global, and we'll talk about that a lot. Infrastructure is global, because as more and more data moves to the cloud, or applications and data move to the cloud, as well as devices have become, traveling around with people and so on. Devices are global, right? And people are spread out all across the world, right? So nearly everything over there is global, but with the additional challenge of regulations also being local, right? So a couple of months ago, we have, after a long time and effort and many iterations, India finally passed the DPDPA act. But this is hardly a new thing, right? Similar things have happened or already exist in regions across the world, right? Whether it's GDPR or PDP and so on. But the one consistent pattern that I want you to notice over here is that recent, meaning the last 6-7 years, pretty much every new regulation that has come up has data or information in it, right? Name of the regulation itself, right? GDPR, the D is for data, PDPA, the D is for data, DPDPA, right? LGPD, the D is for data, right? And so on. And it's not a coincidence that regulators across the world somehow decided that they wanted to have data in the name of the regulation and so on. There is a pattern over there, because as data becomes more and more global, right, spread out all over the world, what regulators care about most is the data itself, and protecting infrastructure like devices, applications, networks and so on is becoming necessary but not sufficient, and very soon it will get into the category of unnecessary, right? Infrastructure protection will become unnecessary as long as the data is protected and made private, right? And through the day today, we'll speak and you will hear a lot about how regulations are affecting our security initiatives. And right now, most security practitioners see this, right? Global regulations and local security requirements are pointing in completely different directions, right? And that's where most of these conflicts arise, right? Do I need to comply with GDPR? Okay, I need to therefore carve out the European citizen data and keep it in Europe. I need to also comply with DPDPA, and therefore all the Indian citizens data, it needs to be in India. But I also want to adopt the cloud, where these two pieces of data need to come together, right? If I'm using any cloud service, let's say Salesforce or any other cloud service, these two are both employees or both customers, and therefore this data needs to be in one system for me to make sense out of it, right? Now these three things, the global regulation, the local regulation, and in this example adopting the cloud, can't all be true at the same time, right? And therefore this global versus local are pointing in different direction. And what we hope to achieve at the end of the day today, and this is just the start of the conversation, this by no means the end, is get to a point where we get into a, I don't know how to pronounce it, right? Maybe glocal, it's probably the closest. Something where global regulations and local security requirements are not in conflict, but actually in alignment to each other, right? So, one set of procedures, technologies, and processes which can help in solving both of these problems and not at the cost of each other. Right? So, in some sense, that's what we are trying to achieve through the day, and this we see is one, if not the biggest challenge that security practitioners face, right, every day. And by the way, this is not necessarily restricted to organizations which are split across, across the world. I mean, Seclore itself has direct presence in 7-8 countries. We've got customers in about 40 countries, right, and so on. So we obviously we see this very close to home ourselves, right? But this is absolutely true for organizations which, for example, are only present in Bombay, for example, right? Because of what I said earlier, which is that everything is global, right? Your data is going out to Google or Microsoft or SAP or Salesforce and so on. And even if you're a company which is only present in Bombay, for example, you should still care about all of this. So we've got a very exciting day ahead, right? This is some of the keywords that we hope will drive the rest of your day, right? We definitely want you to we have some great food, right? Let's get that off the ground first, right? Bottom right hand corner, right? Through the day, there's some great food that is going to get served for lunch and on all the breaks, and we try to make sure, because hey, there's not much that a superhero can do on an empty stomach, right? We need to feed ourselves first. We've got a bunch of demo desks right outside. You may have noticed in the coffee and tea area just outside. Over there, our team of experts are demonstrating some of the latest and greatest products and capabilities that we've released through this year and what is upcoming in the next couple of months, right? So I encourage everybody to use their passports and boarding passes and so on, and have a look at some of these demos. There's a lot of networking, a lot of conversations about data, security, privacy, specifically DPDPA, which is top of mind for a lot of people in this room and beyond. We don't mean to make this a day where everybody agrees with everybody else, right? So there is going to be clash of ideas, and that's great, right? That's where the best things come out of, right? And we are definitely going to talk about compliance, because that's what we need to stay out of prison, as Mr. Dugal is going to tell us in a couple of minutes from now, right? So once again, welcome. Thank you for taking out time and spending this day with us. It's our responsibility to make this as productive as possible. Get you at least 600, if not 6,000 years of experience. And welcome. Thanks a lot for coming down.